All right, now we are on the fourth movie in this module on technology, and we're going to be talking about TPACK. TPACK is Teaching Pedagogical Content Knowledge. And I've put together, or I've found, actually, I'm sorry, I found a 2-minute video online
TPACK in 2 minutes.
that explains TPACK in 2 minutes. So we'll now watch it.
For more information, visit tpack.org. So first we have to ask, what is it? Well, TPACK is a framework that combines 3 knowledge areas: our technological knowledge, content knowledge, and our pedagogical knowledge. And it looks at how they work together to increase student motivation and to make the content more accessible to students. We look at the content as the what. It's the subject matter we're teaching, like ecology, music, algebra, health, geometry, or art history, to name a few. Then we look at our pedagogical knowledge. It's the how. Every teacher has tools, so let's put them to use. Are we going to be using direct instruction? Will this be inquiry-based, group discussions? How are we going to make the content more accessible by the way we present it to our students? Then we look at selecting the appropriate technology because it's the partner. What tool will we select to make the content more accessible to the students while supporting the pedagogical strategy which we've identified will help to deliver this information to students? We must identify those support features to really help us use technology to reach our outcome. As we understand them individually, we can start to see overlaps. Our TP knowledge allows us to understand how we're making the content more accessible. Our TC knowledge allows us to identify the affordances of pairing the appropriate technology to the content. And our PC knowledge allows us to identify the affordances of pairing the appropriate pedagogical strategies with the content. TPACK comes from the overlapping in that center spot, or as we refer to it as the sweet spot, when all 3 knowledge areas work together. It's crucial to remember that surrounding this is the context. That's you and your students. This may look differently when you walk into classrooms because at the heart of TPACK is meeting students' needs.
All right, okay, so that was just 2 minutes of TPACK. Now I'm going to go through and talk about it as well, or show you the slide. So I want you to, it is about 21st century learning, and it's about representing content in accessible ways to individuals based on their specific contexts. So the content knowledge, the pedagogy, and the technology. So how technology and content and pedagogy work together. So this is to ensure that you're actually doing a good job in how you're presenting the technology to your students. You can use this framework and ask yourself, are you meeting all of these pieces, essential pieces? So one of our professors here at Touro actually put together the teaching and learning interchange. And so I'm gonna have you go through that. And so here's the website. It's also found on your critical reflection activity. And I'm going to have you click on a strategy, choose a topic to find a specific strategy in practice. And there's learning styles, technology, working with English language learners, and working with special populations. And then I want you to complete all sections of the topic that you choose, reading, listening, reviewing all the resources at the bottom. So this is what it looks like. So when you go to that website, it says Launch Video Cases. I'm going to take my photo off there. So you're going to launch the video cases, and I have to hit click and trust, but now that brings us to this website. So you are going to go into strategies and practice. You'll choose one of these. So I'm going to pick working with special populations, and then I am going to click on special needs. And then you'll click through all of those. You'll take a look at the resources at the bottom of each page and answer the different questions that are there. And then once you go through that, you're going to answer some questions on your, on your critical reflection activity. So, so just telling me which topic you chose, and then what you learned from that. So I just want to now take a minute to just show you what your book says and has some of the areas where your book talks about assistive technology. which is the next piece that we're going into. And assistive technology is there to help a student meet his or her IEP goals and participate in general ed. And this could be a device, but assistive technology could also be a service. And it's there to help possibly the student either communicate or perform an academic task or participate in the social or extracurricular activities. Maybe it's to help them move or travel around school or use proper seating and position and access materials. On page 219, they go through and they show you some different assistive technology tools that are available. I'm not going to go into these because I know that you guys have your book and can go ahead and take a look, but a lot of them are around, these are all around reading. And so it's about, making the text larger or actually reading aloud for the child, customizing the visual presentation of the text. And one important thing I'd like you to all join is bookshare.org. So if you have, you can get an account for your student, and they actually have a ton of books that are available for your student so that they can learn to read and access literature. Also on page 28 in your textbook, they go through and they talk about the opportunities of assistive technology. So you've got no tech or low tech, you've got mid tech and high tech. So the no tech is like a rubber grip for a pencil or a pen, could be a study carrel. The mid tech is around like digital audio recording or a calculator. And then high tech is when you have like voice recognition. If you've worked with any students with an AAC device, that would be an example as well. They've got some really great videos that you can also watch of students using assistive technology. So why don't we click on that right now.
Hello, my name is Ellen.
Can you tell us a bit about how you communicate, Ellen?
I use my two switches to select the icons on my Pathfinder. When I press my right switch, a bright red light comes onto the first row of icons. If I wanted that row, then I would press my left switch to select that row. Then I have to do the same thing to select the second icon to say a word.
So the big thing here is that whatever is needed for a student to do a task in an environment or to meet expectations. So the two parts here are that you have the student who needs the assistive technology as support. Then you have the others who need training and support on using these devices or deciding which device to use or managing the use of these devices. That's where the general ed teachers come in. You should be part of the decision-making process about technology. So you don't necessarily have to decide on the technology, but once it's been decided on, you should make sure that you've been trained on how to use it in your classroom and to support the learning in your classroom. So this is the 8-step continuous decision-making process about technology and special ed. So one is you have to identify the area of concern, then you gather information on the aspects related to that concern. So this is where a special educator might come and ask you, what are some of the barriers to, the student accessing the learning in your classroom? And it could be communication, and then the special educator would go back with that information, present it to the team. They would analyze that information and come up with some prioritized and potential solutions, such as getting some sort of communication device. And then they would develop a plan, work on getting the tool or the assistive technology for the student, train everybody on it, and then revisit whether that technology is working and if there's anything they need to do. And of course, as always, document, document, document. So, what resources do you have access to in your school? Do you have iPads? Do you have internet access? Do you have software? Do you have different programs? These are all things to think of in your classroom and in your school as potentials for helping support your students with special needs. Here's some websites that you can also go to, because I know that some people have said, oh, well, I've already been to all of the websites that I had mentioned before. So I listed a bunch more here so that you can, reach outside of your comfort zone and learn about more technologies that are out there. Here's some low tech. So say you don't have any internet access at your school site, then some of the things you can do is, buy a timer. You can get them on Amazon very easily. You can use solo plates with dry erase pens and socks to create dry erase boards. You can have haptic devices. Those are a little bit more difficult to get, but it is a possibility. Fidgets you're seeing a lot, and there's a lot of controversy around there. I like this one. It's the sensory thinking box. So you create a box with different materials in there that can help increase thinking, such as mats or boas or fidgets. I've seen different weighted blankets and things like that to help students so that they can actually access the learning. And then live scribe pens take notes for all students. Here's the link for the BrainPop. If you just email them, then they will make sure to give you access to for the teacher trial. And that brings us to the end of this part, this module. So thank you.